Welcome to a new video. In this video, I'm a bit ill, but nevertheless I was testing out the CCA Xyraa, and this is a new IEM that I got by CCA that promises an affordable price with hybrid drivers. So one BA and one dynamic driver. The BA for the highs and mids and the dynamic one for the lows and lower mids. So I want to quickly unbox it and try it out, so let's get started. Here's what comes in the box. You can see the IEMs themselves with different kind of ear tips. This is the large ear tip that I put on for testing because the mid-sized one are a little bit too small. And then we have this cable, which is nice and long, but it's a typical KZ and CCA kind of cable there. This is the non-mic version. There's a mic version available with 3.5mm headphone jack, and there is a USB-C version available. You can see that the packaging comes with the typical KZ or CCA budget design. So we have the two IEMs there, and we have the paperwork and the rest down below here. And if I would be able to open up, you will see that we have the other ear tips inside, as well as the paper bag for the cable itself. We have mid-sized ear tips usually installed by default, large ones and small ones available as well, if you like that. And this is basically what comes in the packaging. Let's check out the IEM a little bit by themselves here, and we check out how well they are here. With this design. What I really like with this design is that we have an outer shell that is made out of metal, and you really can feel it, and a nice design and CCA logo there. The rest is resin, of course. We have left and right indicators there. You can see the dynamic driver there, and somewhere, because it's a bit of transparent, you will also see the BA driver eventually. I think it's sitting in the nozzle directly there. The nozzle is a bit large, so I had some difficulties putting on the ear tips actually. And I had to say that from the fit and comfort one, this one is very good for my left ear, but for the right ear it tends to fall out. But in general, fit and comfort with those is pretty good, so I don't have anything that I can complain about. The build quality is very nice for, I think, under 30 bucks what they cost right now. It's pretty good. We get the typical KZ style or CCA style cable there without any issues. You can use this one or replace it with another one there. A very good aftermarket cables available as well if you need another one or a better one. So design wise, very interesting. It's also not too large. So when it comes to fit and comfort, it fits nicely in your ear, and you don't feel that you have a bulky headphone in your ear with multiple drivers. Even though we only have two drivers in here, it is quite remarkable that they make them very small and make them very nicely fit into your ear. You can even sleep with those in your earbud because they're not pressuring too much on your ear when sleeping on the side even. So in general, I'm quite happy with the design, the build quality. Just the cable is something that maybe they should upgrade it at one point to make it a little bit more of a premium cable there. Even for their cheaper IEMs, I would like to have a little bit of a more substantial cable. But that's basically it. I cannot complain much. Talking about the sound quality of the CCA Xyraa, it's quite interesting, I would say. I was expecting it to be super bass heavy and really warm sounding, but I was surprised when I was listening to it that I got a very good emphasis on highs, and I first thought, hey, this is a very balanced kind of sound that I get out of the Xyraa. But this was likely to be what I was listening to, because if you're listening to something with lots of voices, especially female voices, then you might get the impression of this is a very neutral and high-end emphasizing kind of sound signature. But when you're listening to something more bassy, you get the other side. You get to say, hey, there's a lot of bass as well, and it can sometimes thump as well. But there's something weird with the bass going on. I don't know what it is, but the bass is not the emphasis on this IEM at all. So I think that whenever there's some highs and higher ends, higher mids available, it is emphasizing it even more. So like the BA driver is like on overdrive and is producing this kind of volume, where the lower end is only this kind of volume. So usually I have it like this, but here it is more like this. So you get definitely an emphasis on highs. And this is sometimes something that can become very piercing and tiring when you're listening to something very long. I was listening to some female YouTuber, for example, that has a very high-pitched voice, and even 10 minutes or 15 minutes just of this video, I got tired listening to her because it was so piercing in my ears, almost ringing in my ears. So it had some kind of downsides, for sure, with the Xyraa. On the other hand, when you're listening to music that is very balanced, you don't have this kind of effect. And then these emphasis on the high end become more clarity, openness, and a bit of like crispiness there in the highs that for male vocals sometimes can give a little bit more details in the voice, or simulate or emulate or make you think that there are more details in the voice that I'm not always sure are actually there, which is a bit of a weird kind of thing. In general, it's very interesting, and I love that CCA sent them to me, but I have to say, be completely honest, I'm not a big fan out of this. It's just because it's just too much emphasis on the highs. I would like, if I have an EQ on this, or should EQ them, I would like at least try to make the bass on the same level as the highs to see if this will improve stuff a little bit there for me. What I found very interesting is that they, I think, marketed also for gaming, and I could really imagine for gaming they're very good, because like the 3D kind of sound that you might want, so you know, from left to right, your enemies coming in a shooter game, for example, is definitely possible with them. Like you get this 3D stereo effect. It's not so much depth that you get in this 3D stereo soundstage, let's say like this, but it's not totally cramped in your brain. It is like a little bit outside there. And for those tracks, like I said, gaming is one thing where you have to know, is it left or right, is it behind me, is it front of me, it's more this way, south, east, ost, west, wherever your enemy is coming from, you can definitely distinguish those. So this is very, very cool, and I like that very much, that you have the possibility to do so with the Xyraa. Then when it comes to bassy, very bassy tracks, I think it's also very, very good in this regards. Depth is a little bit of an issue, and you can also hear, especially if you crank up the volume a bit, they're not the highest quality of drivers that they put in there. It's good for sure, but it's not the highest quality. And one thing that I noticed is I'm recording with the Sony Xperia 1 Mark VI here right now, and this has a headphone jack. I really had to go only to, what is it, 25–30% of volume. Otherwise it got too piercing for my ears, too loud actually. So this is something where I was, oh, maybe the BAE driver is doing a little bit more than I would expect it. And the same goes, you don't need a dongle or any amplification at all, special amplification to make the best sound out of those here. Because like I said, a normal phone will do, a passive USB-C adapter will also do very fine. I used an active dongle for Moondrop, and it was very loud, and I had to turn down the volume directly. Like I said, it's like between 20 and 30%, more likely to go 20, you get a good volume. If you go a bit up, the piercing highs is just killing your ears, and I would not recommend to do so. So overall, even though I think it's a very interesting experiment to listen to, it's not my kind of style because it's a bit too piercing for the highs and missing a little bit of the fun. I read some other reviewers that said there's a lot of fun in there, but I couldn't get the fun. I put them in my ear with the largest tips. Maybe I should have tried other tips as well. Maybe foamy tips might help there as well to put a bit of fun. But yes, if you get your songs and tracks that you like, you're listening to it, you have a little bit of fun for sure. And I think it is trying to emulate a bit of like this fun tuning, but it's not there. It's not fun enough for me. It's just too piercing in the highs for my taste. Maybe I'm getting a bit too old, and maybe younger generations might like it a little bit more. But I'm more like get a bit more bass and not so much piercing highs there. For the CCA Xyraa. Nevertheless, very good IEMs if you're interested in this, and if you like a bit more upper mids and vocal and high centric without lacking a lot of bass, but still have a lot of bass there, then this is definitely an interesting pair that you should take a look at, especially when it's just under 30 bucks. I think this is what you can get it right now. So I will put down the link below to the CCA Xyraa, and this is everything for this short little review. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. If you have questions, put them down below in the comment section. Sadly, no microphone demonstration because I didn't get a mic cable with it. I wonder if the USB Type-C version might have a bit of a different kind of vibe than the 3.5mm version there, because they have maybe some EQ settings, maybe even an app where you can change EQs. It would be also quite interesting to see that. Otherwise, until the next time, bye.